Oh God, Ginger. Whose is it?
They're ninjas.
What the hell?
This is sanctioned by the Real Cast Rangers at realcastradio.com.
And the train keeps rolling. The train keeps rolling. All right, let's scroll on to the chat here. Oh, yeah, Grego says, credit goes to Lou for leadership. For leading those stars to a championship. Yes, sir, Grego. Lou definitely gets his credit. He did do his job. Okay, man, we've gotten a good bit of the chat in. I'll tell you what we're going to do here. We're going to get ready to transition to our next topic, and we're going to talk about the NFL. And there was a story I saw in the NFL I thought was kind of interesting. So we're going to dip into that right after this. The views and opinions of Uncle do not necessarily reflect the views of the Underground Railroad Show, That Ninja, SME, or Doc Stewart.
This is a PSA for all of you jigaboo coon monkeys listening to this show. All of you beautiful white people like Texas Ty, y'all don't disregard everything I'm about to say. As for the rest of you, what are you doing? There are a bunch of beautiful white people on the radio right now telling you what to listen to, telling you how to think, telling you what to see, telling you how to feel. But no, you want independent thought and different stories and variety. So you listen to that ninja. I swear you cool monkeys are getting worse every time. I just can't stand being around you, just doing this radio set. I feel all your diseases coming on. Diabetes, high blood pressure, gout, bad credit, and the inability to take care of my children.
This message is brought to you by the Anti-Ninja Coalition.
It's the star of every potluck and picnic. It's the side dish you feed your side chick. It's so creamy and filled with so much deliciousness. Oh yeah, you guessed it. It's potato salad. So damn good you want to slap that ninja. Who doesn't eat potato salad? This message brought to you by Spicy Conversations. Honey, I made your favorite dinner. Fried pork chops, macaroni and cheese, and
potato salad.
Fucking bitch.
And you are back with the Underground Railroad Show with That Ninja on Spreaker.com, also on the SME Network. All right, let's transition to the next topic, and we're going to get into a little bit of NFL. It's the off season, but of course the NFL doesn't stop. Favorite sport? I think it's a lot of people's favorite sport, football. I think most people, well, I say to most people I've talked to, if I really was being honest and had to guesstimate, most are probably prefer college. Not like they dislike the NFL, but a lot of people seem to prefer college. I'm the opposite, although in recent years, college has come pretty close. It's not like it's a big gap anyway, but especially these last couple of seasons, college has come pretty close, but I still prefer the best of the best, quote unquote. Excuse me. Excuse me. All right, let's go into this next topic here. Okay, the NFL. There was this story that I was tripping on, and the title of the story was, in their third season, it's a make or break year for 5 NFL players. And of course, I mean, stories, as I've said, the media, they are who they are. They do what they do, credibility and whatnot. I mean, it is what it is. People trying to break stories. They're trying to break stories. They're trying to find something to talk about, so they'll dig and look for something. Sometimes there's something there, sometimes there isn't. And you can tell when they're digging or deflecting. But stories are come at from an angle, however the writer wants to write them. So in this story, the writer chose to write, players in their third year that were in a make or break season. I mean, right off the bat, really, third year. I mean, that statement in itself sounds a little off to me. You're talking about people being in a make or break season in the third year, but nonetheless, that's the way the story was written. And the thing that I found interesting were the players they choose to put on it. And I guess my main thing about it is, if you're going to write that story, in my opinion, there are other players worthy of that tag or that moniker, that title. They're worthy of being looked at in that manner because of their play or what they've accomplished to this point. So I was surprised at the way they came at it and the players they chose to go after. Now, the first one I completely disagree with, and this is somebody else they've had an agenda against from the beginning, and it's just stupid. But again, in my personal opinion, I've always felt this way. I don't equate injury to sucking. So I'm going to feel, I'm not going to use that phrase. I don't like that phrase. I think it's feminine. I'm going to feel strongly about players being called bust or not good players when they haven't even had a chance to play. If you're hurt, you're hurt. If you play and you don't play well, that is sucking. If you're hurt, you're hurt. And it's that simple. There is no yeah, but. I mean, that's one of the reasons, just to go off on a little side note tangent, I don't really care for, I want to say it's mainly D linemen, but linemen, period, as commentators, I don't seem to care for them. I've noticed as a whole. D linemen in particular, sometimes O linemen as well, and there are other position players, but D linemen in particular, some of them, I really, their opinions on injury. And I guess this is my thing about it. I was, what was it, freshman year? Freshman year, it was the first time I did? It was like the second time I'd ever sprained my ankle, but the first time I did it playing football. First time I sprained my ankle was on the basketball court. I was balling that game too, but I digress. I sprained my ankle, and I was a linebacker. And I remember I was just, one thing my coach told me is I had to learn how to play on it. And I didn't realize, it's going to hurt. You just got to get to the point where you can deal with it, tape it up. And once you run around for a minute, it kind of numbs up, you can play. So, he told me that, and I got out there and I could move okay. He kind of, re-hurt it. It's a little hurt, so it kind of re-hurt it a couple of times or whatever, or re-injured it, excuse me. But to get to the point, I was a linebacker, but he put me at nose guard because it was easier for me to. On that bad ankle, I couldn't play linebacker as effectively as I needed to, but I was beasting at nose guard. So that's my point about linemen. I hear you about playing injured, but you have to move in short windows and bursts for the most part. For the most part. That's why you can say that, because you can be injured and come off that line. Certain little injuries, you can come off that line and bang and find your way to the ball and be done with the play. You can do that as a lineman, but it's not the same when you're in a skill position and you're moving and reading and you got to chase that play down. It's a completely different ball game. So their opinions on injuries, aggravate me because they don't seem to take that into account. But I digress. Jadeveon Clowney. I do not understand. From the beginning of this man's career back in college, nothing but criticism. Again, looking for negative things to say about him. It's just a matter of how they really want to cover people. Looking for reasons to downplay his game. And in the same breath, Joey Bosa, somebody went to the Ohio State University. They could have talked about him being not that fast. They could have talked about him being a knucklehead and always getting flags. They chose not to. It's just a matter of how they want to cover you. For those who know, I'm a Buckeye fan, but you can get away with certain things for the most part if you're colonizer. Ninjas are scrutinized a little bit more tightly. That Clowney situation is just another example. Clowney never behaved like Bosa did. Bosa used to always get dumb flags. I was sitting over there like, what the hell is wrong with this dude? I remember one game, I think it was 2 or 3 straight third downs. We stopped him, and he got a late hit flag or some type of flag where he gave them a first down. At least 2 times in a row. He never really got criticized for being a knucklehead like that. And got drafted fairly high. We'll see what he does. I think he can be productive in the right environment, but it is what it is. But Clowney's on this list, and Clowney has missed he missed 12 games his rookie year, and I think he missed about 4 or 5, last year. So, he really hasn't even had 3 seasons. And again, no perspective, he's being played out of position. If you have J.J. Watt and you got Clowney, why wouldn't you have both of them on the end? You know what I'm saying? Why wouldn't you have both of them on the end where they're effective? Why wouldn't you put him in a pass rushing position? You know, anytime you got a coach that's more worried about his scheme than he is using what he has effectively, you know, I wonder about that. I wonder about that with them. Because if you're telling me you can't use Clowney and everybody's reaction to it media-wise is something's wrong with Clowney, I mean, you got to pay attention, man. Consider the source. You got to pay attention. I mean, it's all on Clowney. Why not put him at his natural position? If you got Watt tearing up the other end, what damn sense? Why would it not make sense to put Clowney on the other end? You can't double both of them, right? You gonna tell me Clowney can't rush the fucking passer? Bullshit, man. That's stupid coaching to me, I mean, but we'll see. But putting him on this list, make or break, what? Like you gonna let him go if he? Man, come on, man, shut up. That's so damn. I wish you would cut him, man. Man, you know how many teams pick that joke up? That's the dumbest thing I've heard in my damn life. And again, my main thing about that is there's so many other players that could be given that label. Eric Ebron, that plays in Detroit. And this is my thing. He's a wide receiver. And that's the other thing about this. These other 4 players are wide receivers or tight ends. I want to say 3 wide receivers and 1 tight end. And my thing about that is, one is Clowney, who's been injured. That's dumb. And every other position is a position where you can't even control your fate. You got to have a system and a quarterback that's getting you the ball. Is there perspective? Is Matthew Stafford capable of getting him the ball? Does he make good throws? Is he under pressure? Is he part of the offense from an offensive standpoint? Has he been injured? Has he been in there? Has he had a fallout with a coach? Has he not even gotten playing time? Everybody else is a receiver. My point is, all these other moving parts have to function in order for that receiver to get the ball. It's like Michael Crabtree. They were calling him a bust, as opposed to saying Alex Smith was such a sorry quarterback that he couldn't get him the ball. They didn't want to say that, so they just called Michael Crabtree a bust. Oh, but when Troy Smith come in the game, Michael Crabtree catching the ball all over the place. Why? Because Troy Smith is smarter than Alex Smith. He can read the field, and he actually has a strong enough arm to get him the ball. The same way Carr does in Oakland, where Crabtree is now and still productive. Why? Because he has a quarterback that doesn't suck. But nobody had anything to say about Alex Smith. They just called Crabtree a bust. That's what I think this is. You're not factoring in, is the damn quarterback getting on the ball? Is the coordinator trying to make him part of the offense? None of that's being factored in. So you have Eric Ebron with Detroit, and they're not talking about the quarterback he has that has never done anything in this league, Matthew Stafford. And if he's on a team last year where he had Calvin Johnson and he couldn't get him the ball, are you going to tell me that's not a scheme thing or a Stafford wanting to throw the ball to a Calvin Johnson thing? There's so many layers to that, man, and I just don't like the bare numbers and just throwing it out there like these guys haven't produced. They said the same thing about Crabtree, and it wasn't him. It was Alex Smith. Cody Latimer, who plays for the Broncos, and, he's kind of lost some playing time behind a couple guys. But, again, he was playing with, Peyton Manning, who was kind of stopped. Peyton Manning had, I think, one strong season, and other than that, he played like hell. Other than that, they haven't had really good quarterbacks in Denver, and they're not counting this, they're not factoring this in. He was there. I think he's been there the 2 years that Peyton was there. 1 year Peyton had a terrible year. 1 year he played well. And they're talking about this is a make or break year for him. I don't get that. Again, somebody where you're not considering the factors around them. When you're talking about receivers and tight ends, man, somebody got to give them the ball. And that has to be a part of it. Austin Safari Jenkins, who plays for Tampa Bay, again, a tight end. Last year, he got us. I saw him make some plays last year because, they had Jameis Winston. And he was being worked into the offense. But again, are they using them to catch passes? Are they blocking with them? There are a lot of other factors. The year before, he had a terrible quarterback. They're not even talking about that. As I'm saying, he had Winston last year. The year before, he had a terrible quarterback. And now it's make or break year for him. Garbage. Marcus Lee, who plays for Jacksonville. Again, he's down there with, God, forgive me for the pause, blah, 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 Blake Bortles. And I guess they're liking the year Blake Bortles had last year. They don't seem to have a problem with his interceptions, but I digress. But he didn't play all that well the last few years. So you're not factoring in Blake Bortles' poor play, coaching. Is he getting targeted? I mean, there are too many factors to just throw that on receivers. My point is that's a bullshit article. Clowney has been injured. I think his talent is obvious, and he's out of positions. All those other receivers have had quarterback issues, except for Tampa